What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be looking at all of my current airsoft collection, today being the 16th of April 2024. So let's get right into it. The first gun that we're going to be looking at is my beautiful blue high kappa. I'm not going to go too far into the parts list just because I have many videos on this pistol. This thing absolutely slaps, shoots straight. It's a 4.3 protector slide on a AM/Gunsmith Bros lower and grip. La Kappa Customs frame Cobra slide with the chrome. I only got this just because I love chrome stuff, like super shiny in your face. So decided to buy this just because it was cool. You'll see later on I also have the heat gradient one, which I bought beforehand before he announced and came out with the chrome ones. But the chrome ones are definitely prettier in my opinion. Next up is going to be my 4.3 that has been Cerakoted. Red, a reddish, purple and green with a little heat gradient accents there, and then the grip tape grip. Moving on is the Limcat build with a 5KU frame and then a Airsoft Masterpiece grip magwell. This thing is pretty good. It sometimes misfires. I have to take it apart and look at it again. But overall, it's a very satisfying gun to hold, and it has the Dr. Black digging barrel. So whenever you rack the thing, it makes the noise, makes the really satisfying noise. Next up is going to be actually the Rainbow Cobra. This thing is a hodgepodge of spare parts. It's kind of whatever I had left thrown into a gun. Some of the colors don't match. I don't really like the silver being on there, but it functions. So that's all I really care about because I have so many high kappas. Next up is the CTM flatline build that I did. This thing needs some tweaking. I think I'm going to try to find either a stock TM nozzle or a garter nozzle just to toss into it, just because it's not as gas efficient as I was hoping it would be. But I have a inkling in my mind that it is something to do with nozzle. Moving on is my first high kappa I ever built was the Infinity slide. This thing used to be on a garter frame, but the garter frame was for some reason really sticky, so I just threw it back on a TM gold match frame, all the internals and all that kind of stuff, and now it runs beautifully, runs on gas really well, so I can't really complain at all, and it looks cool, so it's a win-win. Moving on quickly to the 4.3 Dr. Black. It's the super lightweight one slide with a AM hex. I think it's a hex outer barrel, stock inner barrel actually. I know I said earlier, not all of mine are stock. This is the one stock piece, and then there is one pistol. And then finally, next up, not finally. Why am I saying finally? It's going to be the Poison Speed QB slide that they released eons ago and limited edition. I used to have two of these. I sold one, kept the other one. It's actually sitting on a completely stock Golden Eagle lower, and this thing, I don't know why, but the lowers I actually enjoy quite a bit. They seem cheaper than the TM lowers, but for $50 you can't really go wrong with the lower, even if you just take the frame internals out of it and throw it into a different gun. 5KU frame with a KF AIRSOFT, I think it's KF custom grip, and then I believe it's a garter slide that just looks like a stock TM 4.3 slide. This is another one of those that I just kind of threw on parts and hope for the best, and this thing runs, so I can't really complain. But basically all the internals are pretty much Dr. Black, and then all the externals are Speed, different brands. Basically, it's a whole bunch of different brands there in there. The final high kappa that we're looking at is it's a garter frame in silver with a stock TM slide, hex blue outer barrel, and this thing, it just runs. It's stupid lightweight just because of the aluminum slide, or aluminum frame I should say, that's on there in the plastic slide, so it's stupid light. I've never used this thing, so I know I did forget one high kappa. It's the blue and gold with the Norris slide on there. This thing has been my workhorse since I got it initially, and this thing runs on green gas like a champ, and I absolutely love using this thing. Moving on to the Glocks. First we have my TM Glock 17 with a Zev slide kit on there. This thing slaps and it has a replica ARMORY that's actually functioning on top. Threaded barrel, all the good stuff. Super lightweight, super snappy, super fun. And then my other Glock is my Elite Force. I believe it's Gen 4, or what they call Gen 4. Glock 17 with a Salient Arms slide kit on there, and a speed trigger and a PTS magwell, and then replica ARMORY that's on my previous Glock as well. Finally, for the Glock type of guns is my AEP-01. This thing is basically a sleeper where all the internals have been done to it. Steel internal frame set of like the knockers and all that kind of stuff. CTM lightweight blowback unit, cow nozzle, Loki hop-up unit, I believe it's a Flamingo bucking, and then a Mark 23 inner barrel. Now moving on to the rifles, we have my speed builds that are more dedicated towards tourney play, and I don't know if I just want to be a little speedy boy. So the first one we're going to be looking at is my Monk Custom and Amped collaboration, upper and lower. This is technically a one of one because it's two different receiver sets that have been mix and matched with the lowers and uppers, because when you bought the one, you either got solid black with green splatter or solid green with black splatter on there. So me and my buddy bought the two different colors and then swapped lowers basically. And then we got the splatter grip Storm Cat 5 green amped edition fusion with the purple nozzle, and I believe a PDI inner barrel and a MAC carbon fiber outer barrel. Moving on to the baby is my full Minecraft build excluding the outer barrel. The outer barrel is MAC. I just like the MAC stuff because it's metal, not Monk where it's kind of polymer and might break. This has a replica ARMORY on it, BCM, gunfighter, foregrip, the M-Lock rail covers, Minecraft rail, Minecraft upper lower, Minecraft MSG, I believe it's called. That's their version of the Euro style grip. You screw the tank on there, and then my 3D printed end cap, and I believe internals are a fusion engine, and then I believe it's also it's a edgy 601 air barrel. It's either 601 or 603 because those are the only two I buy, and then a Max Polar Star edition hop-up unit that is also present on the Monk one. The next three are builds that are in progress. These are fully 3D printed lowers and parts, and then the upper frames are 3D printed and the threads, and then the carbon fiber tube. These are basically to mimic the AirTac upper G&G lower ESG grip builds, but with the caveat that it is able to be ran with just a line through the grip, so you can kind of keep it lightweight still. Moving on, we have my AEG ESG that is, and I quote, a monstrosity because the amount of colors that's on there. But this thing was basically a test subject to see if I could make a AEG ESG, and it works. And now I'm looking to potentially purchase a DSG of some sorts and wire it through the grip to that lovely little battery holder that's back there. Now we're going to be looking at more of my outdoor and more mil-simi guns, with the first one being a KWA Eve 9. This thing I'm actually also selling just because I bought it at Boneyard and then fixed it up, but it runs perfectly fine. I'll probably use this as a borrow gun for people who don't have guns, so if I bring them airsofting. It's always nice to have a spare gun and a spare mask, just so people don't have to buy the rentals. They can just buy the or the admission and not have to worry about, paying the extra money for stuff when you can present and give them all that. But that's just my one AEG that's pretty normal looking. And then we have my other AEG that is going to be my DSG'd, I'm going to say this really wrong. It's the Well WE01, I believe is the model name of it. It's a DSG from the factory, shoots 300 feet per second, 30 rounds a second. It's stupid snappy. For 180 bucks, I got it just as a test to see how well this would go. And surprisingly, it's gone through hell and back, and it is running like a champ. So, well, you did good on that. You did good on this one. Moving over to the HPA ones, we have my MTW, which has a Heretic Labs trigger in it. This thing I used at a few milsims, and it is beautiful. I can see why people love their MTWs. The, real spec grip, the teardowns pretty much identical to real AR. Lovely training rifle. Going next is my 9mm AR by SEMA. It's their, I forget what it is, but it's part of their SEMA Platinum line that has the super, I wouldn't say super nice internals, because the only thing that's nice about it is everything but the electronics. The electronics are, unless they fixed them, the electronics are pretty bad. But this thing doesn't have to worry about that because it has a fusion engine in it, and then a MAC carbon fiber outer barrel and rail, Strike Industries hand stop, and I have rail space up top for a light, and then a red dot that I usually tear off of one of my other rifles. If not, I have a few that I just toss on there and call it a day. This thing runs beautifully and lobs BBs downrange so fast, super fast. Next up is my piece of resistance, my Crytek gas blowback vector. This thing is an absolute blast to use. I know I say blast a lot about all of these other guns, but this gun is entirely made for being a fun gun, because you can run the Euro style rifles or even the MTW style rifles and throw BBs downrange like there's no end, and you can throw down 250 BBs in seconds. Whereas this thing, you have, I think it's 50 rounds in a mag if you level the BBs correctly in the mag, and that's it in one mag. And the mags are fairly heavy. I carry about 4 on me and then 1 in the gun, so I have approximately the same amount as an EPM1, but I usually only go through 2 mags on this thing, because when you're using a gas blowback, I don't know if this is normal for most people, but you get into that mindset where you only have a certain amount of rounds, so you can't just throw rounds downrange just because you can. So that's going to do it for my current setups right now. For gear, I run a 1 Tigris plate carrier that I just got off Amazon for my milsim, and if I'm running my 9mm AR or the Vector, that's what I'll run, just because I have pouches for that and placards for that. Tourney settings, I run the Hostile line of HK Army AIRSOFT stuff with the chest rig, the backpack, and the belt setup. And masks, I use a Dye i5 with a 3D printed GoPro mount up top, and then if I'm running a helmet, it's just some fast helmet replica that I just put on my head and throw the GoPro on it. Clothing, if I'm going to an open play, sometimes I'll just wear like a hoodie and jeans, or a hoodie and sweatpants or something like that. And then tourney settings, we obviously have the HK jerseys and the HK, I believe they're the TRK pant. But most things are comfortable as ever. And I just run around tennis shoes, just running shoes, because fuck boots unless I'm playing outdoors. Then I love boots. But yeah, that'll be it. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.